Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for another episode of Foundation Fest, and today I'm going to check out from Pacifica. The Kind Tint Tinted Serum retails for $14 for 1 ounce of product, currently getting 4 out of 5 stars on Ulta's website. This is described as skincare meets makeup in Pacifica's super light Kind Tint Tinted Serum, skin-loving, vegan collagen, vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, plus a hint of coverage. Just add you. Breathable, ultra thin, tinted serum. It's got lots of skin loving ingredients, yada yada yada. I'm gonna skip all the yada yada stuff happening. Clean formula, vegan, cruelty free, 50% post consumer recycled plastic bottle and cap. Niacinamide, caffeine, no talc, no parabens, no phthalates, no mineral oil. Squalene is the second ingredient in the ingredients list, which I think is awesome. Favorite. There are some natural extracts in here, so if you're sensitive to those, we're talking like jasmine flower extract, there's some radish root ferment filtrate, some natural stuff. Like, if I'm going to be sensitive to anything, that's usually what it'll end up being. Orange flower extract, caffeine in here. This looks like a dry skin loving dream if the ingredients have anything to say. There are 12 different shades of this. I've got it in what appears to be like the second lightest shade, 22. So let's take a look at this one swatched against a few others in my collection. Swatch time. First up is today's foundation from Pacifica, the Kind Tint Skin Tint in shade 22. Second is from Estee Lauder, the Double Wear Stay in Place in 1C1 Cool Bone. Third up is MAC Studio Sculpt in NW15. Fourth is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator in Fair. And last, I've got from Misha the Perfect Cover BB Cream in 21. I've already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened this 47-year-old mug. I am going to apply this with fingertips because it's that sort of really sheer, tinted, moisturizer-ish kind of a product. I'm not expecting a ton of coverage. Whoa, it's excited. It's excited, you guys. But they do say you can wear this sheer or layered, so we'll see if we can get just a little bit of coverage out of it. You know how I like to hide my little sunspots, right? There's the consistency. This shade is lighter than I anticipated. Pretty light. I don't know. We'll see if it's too light for me. I'm not the fairest of the fair, but I'm kind of fair. I'm usually middle of the road fair in terms of my shade of lightness, but it's still early. I don't have any sun happening on me yet, except for maybe my arms. I am not as religiously good at putting sunscreen on my body as I am putting it on my face. I wear it on my face every single day. I'm not as good at being dedicated to wearing it on my body. I need to be. It's not good. You can see I'm already getting a tan line for my watch, which my watch is missing. I got a kitten. So my watch is missing. I don't know where it is. It's in my bedroom somewhere, according to Find My Watch. Yeah. All right, one coat. I would say pretty light coverage. Not even really doing a whole lot of redness correction. Maybe a tiny bit. Let's stay on this side and see what we can do in terms of layering this up just a little. I say hello to my little friends. I don't know why I'm breaking out on around my mouth all of a sudden. I don't break out very often. I'm not prone to blemishes. This is kind of like, you really got to work it in on like this textured area of my face. You really got to get it melting in there, because otherwise it's kind of sitting on top of that texture. But it's melting in. It's getting down in there, so we'll let it be. I'm going to use this as concealer as well, as I've tended to do lately. I say lately, but it's been like a year that I've been doing my sort of avoiding concealer. It's pilling up a little bit around the baby hairs of my eyebrows, but that's not the most unusual thing. A little bit of pilling along my hairline, but we can tolerate that if the product is good. It is clinging to my little friend here. That's 2 layers. I don't think much is changing in the coverage. Let's just do some of the sunspots and just see if we can tap some coverage just over these guys. Yeah, I think we are about as far as we're gonna get in terms of coverage. So there's still peeking through here. A little bit of coverage, you know, there's a little bit going on, just a little bit. Evening things out just a little bit. I'm gonna need a little bit more to get through the other side, but let's go to town. Products like this, the one nice thing is that you really can just slather it on and go to town and kind of get yourself some quick out the door minor coverage improvements if you've got that need and you'd rather not go out totally bare. I know that feeling. I do like to just even things out a little bit. Yeah, watch your hairline. It gathers along the hairline. Let's see how it's doing on my nose. Not too bad. So, as I'm applying this, it kind of just, it is clinging to dry skin, but if you massage it in, it does sink into the skin, whether that's the heat of the skin giving it that ability to sort of melt down, or if it's just the process of rubbing it in, I don't know. But it does, it clings initially, but if you keep giving it a little bit more attention, it does sink in. And because it's not a really high coverage product, it doesn't really, you don't really see it on the skin, which is nice. Except that I usually prefer a little bit of coverage, just a little bit of coverage. With a product this sheer, I'm going to say what we're going for is a your skin but better kind of a situation. You know, you're looking for, you're still going to see any pores, any texture, but you're just going to see them in a slightly blurred, more color even manner. Yeah, like this I would say is not even enough coverage that I would, like, I can't tell I have it as concealer. I still feel very purple. So yeah, this is definitely not a coverage product. It did even things out just a bit. Let's zoom in and get a look here. I would say that it does a little bit of smoothing, so I would say my pores, especially to the sides of my nose where they're on my cheek sort of, they do look minimized. You know, I'm not really seeing them as much as I would bare skin. It's only very slightly clinging to dry skin. Not really noticeable. I don't think at a conversational distance you'd be able to tell. It's not sinking into any pores. It is not currently settling into any lines. I wish it had a little bit more coverage, but it's definitely not selling itself as that. It really just looks like a slightly more even, slightly more blurred version of my natural skin, which, if that's what you're going for, that's a good effect. It is a good effect. I do think it looks nice. I do wish I had gotten a shade darker. I don't think the shade is really coming through in terms of it being obvious that it's lighter or darker, but maybe I would feel like there was more coverage if it was a smidge darker. That could be a thing. We're getting a late start, you guys. It's almost 5 p.m., 4:56, but not being a coverage product will still be okay. I do want to get a daylight check-in, so I will get that today as well. But let me go put the rest of my face on, and I will be right back. Back with the Pacifica Kind Tint. So far, so good. Let me tell you, though, I did a little bit of spot concealing, so I'm also testing the number 7 Lift and Illuminate Serum Concealer, which I am really, really liking it. Spoiler alert. Uh, and let me get the little thing off the top here. So I put a little bit on my sunspots, a little bit on my blemishes, and of course my under eyes where you would normally conceal. So I do have a little bit of that going on. There's no powder happening, did not have to set anything. Nothing behaved strangely, nothing went off the rails, everything blended out wonderfully. All is well. I'm trying out some new drugstore makeup today. I got some of my typical usual suspects. Flower Beauty, the Heatwave bronzer, and the Warm Hibiscus blush. But I am trying out some new stuff, which if you look back the previous video or two, I did a get ready with me where I was telling you guys where I've been, what's going on. Yes, Ziva's making her cameo here. If you want to see how I put this face together, I did so in that video. But I've got a couple new CoverGirl single exhibitionist shadows here. Trying out the CoverGirl, the Age Perfect Lash Plumping Mascara. Maybelline Green Edition. This is the Lip Balm, how do you say this? Balmy Lip Blush in shade Dusk. Also trying the CoverGirl Exhibitionist. This is the Lash Serum Liquid Liner. It's a matte liner that has lash serum in it. The mascara also has lash serum in it. I'm enjoying all of it so far. Everything has been good. But check that video if you want to see how I got this face. I am going to go about my day. We got a little bit of sunlight left. I will go get a daylight check-in so you can kind of see the shade and what's going on here. And then I will come back tonight, give you guys my final thoughts. Daylight check-in a couple hours in with the Pacifica. I don't think you can tell that it's such a light shade on me because it's such little coverage that, you know, the shade doesn't really show. Like I would compare like this area since I have no bronzer or anything here, you know. So I think the shade turned out okay. I would, if I were buying it again, I would buy a shade darker, but so far it's holding up well. I don't see any issues with settling or anything like that going on. What do you guys think? You see anything odd happening? I don't see anything odd happening. That's a good sign at least. I will be back tonight and we will see how this held up. 11:35 p.m. That puts us right around the 5-hour mark. Let's take a look at how the Pacifica Kind Tint held up. It's not as hydrating as I thought it was going to be. That said, I did almost go to bed without doing this check-in, so it's comfortable as heck. That is for sure. I just feel like it's I'm getting a little tight, like that late in the day dehydration issue, but having only been 5 hours or so, excuse my voice, having only been a half a day basically, that is a little troubling. The other thing that's going on is for a product that has minimal coverage, what it's doing now that it's getting into its wear time is it's starting to kind of, only a little bit, but sort of settle into some pores and sort of bunch up in some places around movement lines and things. And it just hasn't really been long enough for that. Plus, like I said, something with little coverage like this, I don't want to ever see the product on my face. I don't want to see it. It's not giving me coverage. You know, if I'm going to do a full-on cake face, which I love, I expect to see the makeup. You know, you can't really have a natural cake face. But this being, you know, a tinted moisturizer type of a product, I don't want to see it gunking up anywhere. And it's doing a little bit of that in the areas where it's the base. So like blush bronzer, I didn't put highlight on today because this blush has highlight in it. It's working really well as a base. I feel like that has all stayed put, stayed in place, not moved around, looks fresh as can be. So for that purpose, I think this is working really well. let's zoom in and get a look at what's going on. I've lost coverage around my chin, and I say that because it's kind of bunching up a little bit on the sides of my mouth and toward my chin. The areas around my mouth have lost coverage. My nostrils have lost coverage. Now that I think about it, I don't think I had to blow my nose today. So, you know, the bunching up on my nose is not my favorite way to respond. It's also kind of creasy, breaking apart along the lines between my eyebrows. Generally, every place else looks fine. My forehead looks fine. Blush bronzer looks fine. I do think everything still looks blurred as it did in that slight blur to the pores. Still looks nice. And all in all, I feel like it's really comfortable. It serves as a good base for, you know, blush, bronzer, highlight. It just has a little bit of room for improvement. And so if I had to give a grade to the Pacifica Kind Tint, I'm going to give it a solid B. Can you hear Charlie the kitten? She does not like to be locked out of rooms. I thought I'd get this done real quick and she wouldn't even know I was gone. I was wrong. We're going to go for a B for the Pacifica. Good effort, good effort. I like it. Just a little bit of room to get up there into my favorites. You know how it goes. There you have it. Another episode of Foundation Fest is in the books. If you like foundation reviews, if you had fun with this one, give me a thumbs up down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.